Alrighty, we are ready for game number 2. In the loading screen still, but everybody is coming up as summoning, so it should only be a matter of seconds before we do crack on into game number 2. If you did just join us, game 1 went to SK. Graves and Gragas alongside Shen, way too strong. 25-10 overall to SK Gaming, fairly comfortable. And Gragas with over 18k gold. Got very quick gold per 10 items, did Ocelot. So this time we are not going to see a repeat. This time it's going to be Ocelot on Kassadin. Very difficult, different champion to Gragas, it has to be said, Paul. So you kind of go from one extreme to the other, Gragas to Kassadin.
Very true. And I'm just looking at SK's comp in general. They don't specifically seem to have a comp. I mean, it's sort of maybe protect the AD carry. They have a lot of sort of bruisers to keep themselves in front, but it's more like very solid picks all over the board. And it makes a lot of sense. I would kind of liken it to Udyr, where he doesn't really have an ultimate, and in the same way you could say they don't really have a composition, but he's just very solid as a champion, because he just has all these skills from level 1. And we have a pause, okay.
Marvellous. I was just about to say, don't do it, Sona, don't do it. There's loads of players in that bush, and then pause comes in. Apparently Dax can't move, so yeah. He isn't kind of all by himself around blue, but often the rest of his team are near red. So hopefully that's going to get resolved very quickly. I'm going to, while we have this little pause, remind you of a few things here, guys. Bear with me for 1 second as my computer seems to be going completely crazy. Give me a shout if the pause comes off. Would you
it's
please
going
pause?
off in 5, 4,
there
3,
you go.
2.
That timing.
That's timing.
And yeah, as I said before, Sona was in a really precarious position. Twisted Advance will come out, and Nif goes down from KO. Was not expecting that right after the pause goes live. Oh man, I kind of wish that I had started shouting at the computer screen there, because Nif was in such a dire position, and also burnt flash. So not just first blood, but also Nif without a flash at bot lane. And who picked it up? It's going to be Kale. So right now, I think Young Buck is kind of face-palming. It's like, oh, thanks, you gave Kale first blood, and he's going to be top against me.
Fantastic.
Couldn't have gone better.
Yeah, thanks guys, you know. And right now, yeah, it was that suspense moment which was just elongated by that pause. It was just like, you're going to die, and we know it, and we would know it for the next 5 minutes. It's just, but at bottom we will have Candy Panda taking that, and Kevin trying to contest this as well, by himself, not even with Sona, and he actually succeeds. Good job. And this is something that you can really see. When you know your enemy jungler is going to be starting blue, you can contest. And they have warded. It's just going to try and stop this from happening, and they're good to go. Udyr will be starting with his blue, getting no help from bottom lane, but of course they did contest, so they couldn't go back up. They needed to stay in that lane anyway for the dominance. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and they will be picking it up at exactly the same time.
Yeah, so Prathana with that first blood has gone back and picked up a dagger, which of course with the E, with the Righteous Fury, is going to do just that little bit more damage. It's going to be difficult for Yorick for the first couple levels you have to feel. But how is Kale going to feel this one out at top? In the meantime, lots and lots of pings at bot lane from the blue team in the try bush. I think it's down to the fact probably telling the rest of their team, okay, yeah, in mid, as you just said there with a little really nice cough. Ocelot. Oh, he could be going down. Ignite's been popped at the flash from Moma. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. Ocelot kind of baited that one out a tiny bit, then turned around. I think he used his Ignite. Yes, he did. So it was an Ignite for Ignite exchange and a 1-for-1 on top of that. But yeah, interesting stuff right off the bat in this game. Much quicker pace than last time around. Svenskeren and Dedran, both the junglers, going to be occupying mid right now. Svenskeren is just going to really soak up that XP. Going to be quite nice for his jungle. And now here come the two mids going back to lane once again. So, really quick action from the get-go here, Pulse. Much more interesting than game number 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely have more aggressive lanes to do so, and it looks like Maokai just lying in wait looking for another guy on Ocelot. I don't think it's going to happen though. I mean, Winning Wave's pushing up to the tower. No, I don't think it's going to happen. But meanwhile, at top though, Kale versus Youngbuck. I mean, Profan's kind of pushing back to the turret. He has 9 CS against 12, so he's losing very slightly. Profan's going to recall here because the minions are pushing to the tower. Very difficult for him to CS, but he's kind of bullying him out, and this is something that's pretty much unseen when you have Is Dedron still in mid? Yeah, he's just camping like a boss.
He will not move, but he could be getting caught out of position here because here comes Svenskeren from the backside. Ocelot, in the meantime, is going to fire off the Nullsphere, but it's so tanky. Going to go back onto Svenskeren once again, being forced to flash away with the bear form. Dedrian flashing back towards Svenskeren and that tower. So a couple flashes being burnt, but no kills going down. And now Udi is going to go back to his jungle. So again, all hell breaks loose in mid.
And it makes a lot of sense because Ocelot needs kills to stay ahead. He's that assassin, and we're talking about it in Champion Select. He needs to be babysat by his jungler to actually get those kills because it's very unlikely he's going to get those kills himself because Moma's range. But now he's slightly behind Ocelot because he's got the mini wave pushing. So yeah, Udi's done a good job. Basically, any pressure is good pressure for Ocelot right now. And even if you get counter jungle or counter initiated on by the enemy jungler, that's a good thing. You've still put pressure on the enemy mid.
Yeah, I can already feel that I'm probably going to end up losing my voice by the end of this game, purely on the basis that you have everything there, ticking the boxes. You've got a Maokai, early, aggressive ganking. You've got Ari and Kassadin in mid. There is so much roaming capability between them two. Could be going top, could be going bottom. We could see some real epic team fights kicking off pretty much earlier than you normally expect in the League of Legends format. So definitely one to watch out for. In the meantime though, Ocelot's going to be pushing that lane, brings himself to level 5. Going to go back. How much gold does he have to spend? The answer is, let's have a look, 500. So how's he going to be building this one? Going to get his second Doran's ring. And my game was a couple seconds behind. You're on 529 now, 530.
Correct.
Okay, good stuff. Just making sure we're together on this one. So yeah, 2 Doran's rings fairly quickly for Ocelot, and 2 Doran's rings also for Ari. So very, very similar builds. Both have 3 health pots on top of that, so could not be any closer.
Still taking a look at the top, and Kale is kind of bullying out Youngbuck, which is insane. And yes, Kale has a lot of dominance, but perhaps she could be the next sort of annoying top lane king, or queen as it were. Which I'm not happy about, quite frankly, because Yorick was annoying enough without another one.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of, for me personally, I noticed this at MLG when Dyrus was playing a lot with Kale top, then everybody else started to play, but we can have a big action kicking off at top and mid at the same time. Ari goes on to Kassadin. Let's switch back over to top. The Youngbuck very nearly getting dropped. Ignite was down, and the Righteous Fury on top of that from Prothana. And this is going to allow Prothana to just farm even further ahead towards that top lane, but still Ari has now took a 2-1 advantage in mid, so it's going to be a bit of a body blow for Ocelot.
Yeah, that's really, really going to hurt. 2-1. Kassadin can't fall behind early game because that's really going to hurt him. He has the roam capability, but then again, he's against Ari, who also has roam capability. The main strength of Kassadin is that he can't really lose lane. He has to CS a bit, trying to get ahead in that way, and then he has to gank. And usually it's because he has the mobility with his Rift Walk, but it's countered by Ari. So I really don't like Kassadin's chances here. It just requires his team doing better. And yeah, it was an odd pick against the first pick Ari. I'm not sure about it. I don't know, we'll have to see how it plays out. And once again, Spencer Garrett, deja vu moment.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Same position, same outcome perhaps, and Scarin is getting completely crippled from MoMA. Spirit Rush was used instantaneously, bursts him down, and Ocelot must be facepalming. He's like, look guys, I was equal with Ari, now I'm 3-1 behind. She's got 3 kills, 1 death. Oh god, and she also has 960, in fact made that 1,000 gold. Went up and picked a couple creeps. In the meantime at top lane, Dreadrian's going to be aggressive once again, as I said. This is what Maokai is renowned for, those ganks, consistent ganks. Youngbuck's going to be in all kinds of trouble, having to pop the ultimate, but he is surely going to go down from Kale. Oh my god, somehow he's still alive. Is he actually going to survive this? Surely not. Oh my god. Prothana getting blocked like a boss from that creep wave. And Youngbuck must be thanking his lucky stars that he somehow, some way, managed to escape from that situation, because I was sure he was dead there.
That was very clever. He placed his clone on top of himself, so Kale had to hit the clone. She couldn't actually click on the real one. That was really, really nasty. And you would actually see the clone went to about 2/3 health, about that. And that's way more than Yorick had left in his health bar. So, yeah, great play by blocking himself with his own clone. And that's what saved him right there.
Oh man, I imagine that Prothana may have just smashed the desk there. Because that was so close. That was one of those ass-clinchingly irritating moments. at the top lane. But either way, 4-1 is the scoreline, 2k gold advantage. At this time to Mouse, they have to win this game. Remember, lost the first one to SK Gaming, and it is a best of 3 format, a knockout tournament. So if you do get taken out of the tournament, it's no lower brackets, you are instantly out. And that $4,000 first prize purse will not be going into your back pocket. Either way, lots of pings are going down once again on towards River. We do have a ward down from Ocelot, so we can see towards the Wraith camp. But looks like we could have some action at top lane, because once again, Dedrian, Mr. Aggressive, with Maokai pushing up. He's going to be going into the top push. Is Youngbuck going to be expecting this one? Perhaps this is take 2 of the gank previously. In the meantime, though, Svenskeren is moving his way up as well. This could be a 2v2 fight kicking off very shortly. Both players kind of trying to bait each other out here. And it looks like thus far it's going to be Mouse that come out on top. There's the ultimate, the eventual maelstrom from Maokai, and the ultimate onto Kale as well. Udi is going to take down Kale though, and Svenskeren actually flashing away. Can he escape from this situation? Using bear form will do so. In the meantime, at bot lane, Graves takes down Soraka, but I'm going to keep it at top because the two junglers are just juking it out right now in this bush. Dedrian's trying his best to get away, flashes and twisted advance onto a minion. Beautiful play from him, realizing exactly what he was going to do. His escape method, twisted advance onto minion. Ari going down in low health in mid and falls to Ocelot, so Ocelot getting somewhat of a revenge. So we have 3 separate fights kicking off on all 3 lanes. Wow, this game's going to be good.
As you predicted, action all of the places, and yeah, it's just action all over the place. And they had the lane to do so, quite frankly. It's 4-4 right now, pretty much nothing in it, but you do have Mouse slightly ahead. I'm just looking at the composition right here. So basically at top, they knew that Maokai was there because one of the ghouls had actually tagged him with vision and they just saw him. So they were baiting that one out. They knew they were higher health and they were just, yeah, they just baited it really well, and that was almost a 2 for 0. So it was very clever by them. They knew he was going to gank, so Udyr also goes in there to try and help out, and they both have 100% HP, so therefore they're going to win the trade. And right now, SK are looking for Drake. Can they do so? I mean, Miles are going to react, but do they have the firepower to try and stop this from happening?
It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. Ezreal is flashing up. Udyr will be taking our dragon. Are they going to jump in here with Cassid? And Ocelot did rift walk through, but he's been exhausted. Could be getting twisted advanced as well from Dedrian. Just pushing a bit too much. Somehow gets away for a couple seconds before Maokai picks up the pieces with the assist coming in the form of Soraka and Ezreal as well. So that was a Drake for Ocelot. Worth it overall, I guess, on gold.
Yeah, but it was very odd by Ocelot because he wasn't really going to burst and tell them, maybe thought he was going to, and then he rift walked in a very odd direction when there was a wall right next to him. I don't know. When you're playing Kassadin, you're 2 and 3 and you're an assassin, and he's not playing like an assassin, he's playing like an AP who has a flash up every 3 seconds, which is not how you're meant to play Kassadin, which is very odd considering he's so good with Kassadin normally. He just needs to be careful because he's not scaling incredibly well right now, and he needs to because he is, after all, an assassin. They will be pushing down mid with Moma and Dedron right now. Svenskeren trying to protect us. I don't think he can... Actually, no, Ocelot's back. And oh, there's a little bit of a bug because it shows he's still been ignited.
Yeah, I see that too. I was like, what the hell is going on? It's something changed in League of Legends. Yeah, it looks to be buggy there. So, Kassadin is not consistently ignited. Don't worry, guys. It's not some crazy new OP ability that Ari brings to the table with a Foxfire skill. But either way, Soraka and Ezreal, let's have a quick look at some of this farm differentials. There's been so much action all over the map, I haven't really had a chance to breathe. So when we do have a bit of a lull in the action, just noticing that both junglers, in fact, hold that for a second, here comes action in mid. Dedrion coming into that bush. In the meantime, Svenskeren, it seems like they have the same brain. They're always moving to the same positions at the same time. Svenskeren's going to come around. Present has been dropped though. That's going to give them a bit of vision. And yeah, Udyr is going to go ahead and recall. So, bot lane, 93 creep score and 1-0 Graves has a pickaxe, a Doran's blade, and boots of speed. Ezreal gets the fast phage and has 109, so he does have a slight advantage. And he also has 2 assists. In the meantime, Youngbuck is going to put some harassment on towards Kale. Speaking of top lane, how is that faring so far? Yorick, 82 creep score, has a chain vest and also a Tear of the Goddess. Kale has 83 as well, so very, very strong at top lane. And Kale, with that first blood, hasn't really managed to convert it into a snowballing lead. Here comes Kassadin though from the side, and an instant ultimate used from Prothana, not taking any gamble, any risk whatsoever. And Ocelot, I guess the job was done though, Pulse. He managed to force the ultimate out.
Yeah, it really was. And honestly, say he hasn't really done anything with it, but Youngbuck isn't crushing him, which is really what you expect from a Yorick. And if Yorick isn't getting kills and he isn't farming very well, he's farming okay, but he's not really shut down Kel anywhere, not even on farm. So basically, she's going to scale better than him all the way through the game, but he's going to scale off because he's Yorick. I mean, he will actually mill at bottom.
Oh boy, you're going to have that huge crippling combo that we were talking about before. The crescendo, then the collateral damage. Beautiful exhaust being utilized though from Soraka. Oh, and she will get taken down regardless with the flash and also the Q, the buckshot coming in. Ezreal picks up a double kill though in retaliation. Ezreal going huge. Candy Panda take a bow. That was beautiful play. But getting a bit of help to say the least from the tower aggro. And that actually really didn't work out well for his team. In the meantime, I think Urk actually died at top with a gank from Maokai, so indeed, action all over the map once again. I wish I had like 5 pairs of eyes now, so I could look every part of the map at the same time.
Yeah, and in all these trades, Mouse are coming out ahead, and this is great for them. They're actually looking really strong in this game, and they have the team to carry this one through as well. They have good mid game. They already have Ezreal as a proc carry. They have Maokai as well. Late game, they also have 2 AD carries. You have Ezreal and they have Kayle. The set basically. And it's just looking at SK to see if they can actually pull off any nice big plays, and that's what they need right now. And Oslo, he's getting harassed down, but jumping into an Ahri who has her full combo up isn't the greatest thing. And there goes the turret. If she had landed that charm, he would have been dead for sure. He's playing very carefully.
It's definitely touch and go against an Ahri at this stage of the game. One charm and it could be pretty much a guaranteed death. Here comes Maokai to top lane once again onto Youngbuck. The twisted advance is going to come out and the arcane smash as well. Is it going to be enough damage? Q in the meantime has it popped off from Prothana. Lots and lots of burst damage from those two, but here comes Svenskeren from the backside, and the mere sight of the Bearman is enough to make Maokai and Kayle turn and run. So again, pressure at top lane from both junglers.
Right now, Mouse just needs to sustain that presence that they have right now, and they're doing really well. Extremely well. And at bottom lane, Dax has reached a point where he can carry on sustaining Candy Panda indefinitely, where it's very difficult to burst him down, especially with the Astral Blessing. It's pretty much a strong counter to that collateral damage bookshot combo that Kevin has right there. So yeah, it's difficult for them, very, very difficult for them. They just need to stay ahead. They're only 2k ahead, it's not huge, but if they stay ahead, then they'll be able to maintain it. But SK have the capability to actually catch up very, very easily with this composition. They're very mid-game orientated, so yeah, Ocelot, mid.
Oh, the Rift Walk is not going to do too much against the Twisted Advance. So strong from Maokai, and it's going to secure the kill from Ahri on towards Ocelot. That's one of the great things about Maokai. Even if you flash away, if his Twisted Advance has already been used, he's going to be jumping on you regardless. Meantime at bot lane, more action, and Crescendo and collateral damage doing more than enough to take down Candy Panda. That's exactly what we're talking about before in the Champion Select. Crescendo, the amount of burst that comes down from Nif and also Kevin at bot lane is incredible. The Dragon has spawned, saplings were there waiting from Dedrian. Can they pick this one up though? Udi coming around from the side. It's going to be a 4 versus 4 situation if SK get themselves into position, and pretty much everybody's starting to push back. Will SK try and take this one though? There are wards down, pink and also just the normal vision ward, sight ward I should say. Oh, Youngbuck has been caught out from a charm. Fair amount of damage from the Orb of Deception as well, but Dragon is going down slowly but surely courtesy of SK. The burst from Kevin is more than enough, and they have managed to turn that one round. So nice stuff from SK. Forcing away Mouse, and then jumping on top of it afterwards.
Yeah, Cassidy had fallen earlier than Ezreal basically, and he has more mobility with the Rift Walk. So they're going to catch up, and there's going to be a 5 versus 4 very quickly. Therefore, Miles didn't want to commit, and he might be able to pick up a kill here.
Oh, Ocelot's going to get Twisted Advance again. Look at Deadshot going through the wall like a boss with that Twisted Advance. Ocelot's going to go down very, very quickly. I believe York's ulti was used upon him. York's going to get dropped as well from Kayle. Ahri flashing through the wall. Beautiful play for a moment. Is it going to be enough to save him? Because here comes Nif from the side. Nif will finish him off. So I guess in that respect, if you want to be taken down by anybody on SK right now, it's probably going to be Sona. And that was a 3-for-1 exchange. Ahri very nearly with a flash of the game, and I have to say that Maokai's Twisted Advance through the Wraith Camp wall was pretty sexy.
Yeah, Dedron just pulling out all of the twist advances. He's pulled out 2 massively long-range twist advances. Ridiculous. And that's a good thing and a bad thing with Maokai, because you can just flash into a tower, and early game that's going to be a secured kill for yourself, because you just put Dedron in a bad position. But then again, as we've seen it, he's just utilising it really well to the point where he's going to follow them all the way through all the terrain, which is just absolutely fantastic.
And also, you have to say, you know, Mousesports as well, they're always there. They know exactly what's going to happen. The communication must be dead on. You know, that Maokai's saying, look, I am going to dive this player right here. Be there, ready to help me out. And every single time he's been there, his team have backed him up. The cavalry has been charging in, and they managed to pick up kills. Interestingly enough, Kassadin has finally picked up his Deathfire Grasp. That's a lot of single target nuking ability from him. Abyssal Scepter finished off onto Ari, which you'd expect. That Spirit Rush, lowering the magic resist of nearby enemy champions by 20 is just going to help her to pick up more and more kills.
Is clever. He needs a lot of single target burst, though he is 2 and 5, which isn't the greatest position to be in as a burst caster. And meanwhile, bottom, Profana looking for a gank, because
Oh, Crescendo was used, but instantly Kale's going to pop off the ultimate, and Kevin and Nif, this tried and tested method is not going to work this time around. They do get the double kill. Castle in the meantime, Ocelot comes down very quickly, utilizing that single target nuking capabilities that we were talking about before. Prothana comes under heavy attack, but they are going to have to turn and run here because Maokai Dedrion was quick to react as well, and with Ocelot with about 4 or so bars of HP remaining, that would not last very long. This is going to allow Moma to steal the blue though in amongst all this, so Kassadin is going to get weaker still.
this is looking really good for Mouse right now. It's only a 3-4k advantage, they're not too many kills ahead, but they have 3 towers, and they have pretty much 2 AD carries, once again. And they're only going to carry on scaling well, whereas the other team, they're going to scale off. Caston will scale off compared to the AD carries because he's more mid-game orientated and he might actually pick up a kill here.
Oh, a nice charm used from Ari though. Can they turn this one round? Svenskeren is taking a lot of damage. That's the eventual Maelstrom, and here comes the rest of the SK lineup. Ari goes on to Udia. Only now going to focus onto Ocelot. Ocelot rift walking away just to save his life. He can't do a great deal after that though, so Kevin's going to go down. Post-traumatic stress disorder for Nif, seeing his AD carry murdered, butchered in front of his eyes. But there's nothing that he could have done, and that's the bad point about Kassadin. Once he has burnt all of his abilities, he can't do a great deal. He can't stand there and fight.
Just when you said Sona's partner was dead, I remember a point, I don't know if you played CNC, where if the scout was with the sniper and the sniper died, he'd be like, my partner's dead, really melodramatic. If anyone get that reference, I applaud you, because that was absolutely hilarious. But right there, Mouths are just pulling further and further ahead. They're just, SK are initiating on them in really janky positions. I mean, yes, they didn't have the gold and they haven't recalled, but even so, they were going to win that fight outright, and they're just pulling further and further ahead. And it's really just, it's going to become worse for them because they have 2 AD carries. I keep saying this, but that's exactly what's going to happen. They have 2 AD carries, they have great peeling power. Jirako doesn't have a lot of peeling power, but Dedrion definitely does, and you've got Ari just being an annoyance all around the battlefield, and she's doing really well for herself at the moment with that Abyssal Scepter, building the Will of Ancients, and has 6 and 3 free. So, yeah, they're in a great position right now.
I kind of feel a bit sorry for Kevin because he hasn't done a great deal wrong. He's on 3-3, 155 creep score, has an Infinity Edge, building towards his Zeal as well. And by and large, he's been doing a pretty nice job at bot lane, trying to hold off Israel. But everywhere else on the map, it's been fairly one-sided. You have to give a lot of credit to Dedrion. He's been so aggressive. 0 deaths, 3 kills, 8 assists. Involved with a lot of kills here for his team. So again, you have to really tip your hat to him. He does have an Oracles as well, sees that ward coming down instantly. There's a lot of burst though, here comes Ocelot, popping off the Deathfire Grasp, lots of damage, Crescendo, everybody lines up for that one, collateral damage instantly afterwards, so much burst potential from SK, but as soon as it's used up, there's not a lot that they can follow up with. Nobody from Mouse actually fell in that exchange, and now they're going to be trying to bring this one back. Here's Ezreal from the side, popping off the True Shot Barrage, does tag up a couple of players. Is he going to be going in for the kill, in for the jugular? The Arcane Shift and Mystic Shot landing. Lots of damage on towards Nif. It's not enough to pick him up yet, though. Here, Youngbuck goes back in again. He's going to pay with his life for that slight mishap. Ari actually did, I think, flashed. Yeah, she did. She flashed in right at the end, trying to pick up a kill, and actually ended up wasting it, but Baron is now free.
That's the moment where you really want a Karthus on your team. That would have been a Quadra with a Requiem right there. To so many players so low on SK. And yeah, Candy Panda just doing a great job. That was a 4 versus 5. They have a lot of upfront bursts coming from SK, but it wasn't enough even to burst anyone down. And that's the point in the game where it's like, okay, we've gone straight past that threshold, and Mouse are probably going to win this with not too many difficulties. It's going to be very difficult for SK to catch up on this one, especially if they get caught.
Oh, well, Svenskeren did flash through the wall there. Shirelia's was popped from, who would that have been? Of course, it could be Maokai. For a couple of seconds, I think Svenskeren was feeling like, I might actually go down here, but very briskly flashing through. Drake is back up once again, and surprise, surprise, Mouse are going to be there to pick it up once again. But as you said before, it was a 4v5. Crescendo landed on all 4 players. Collateral damage went through with the buckshot instantly afterwards, so everything hit that could have possibly hit, but nobody fell. And for SK Gaming, that would have been a telltale moment where they were like, oh god, we actually can't burst them down right now. And after that burst came down, they had nothing afterwards to follow up with. And that's the main difference right now between the two teams.
Yeah, SK have a really nice team fighting team, and they lost a team fight straight up with everything perfectly placed. So they don't have an exceptionally good picking team, but if they get a pick, that might be what they need. But honestly, they just need to try and outplay them, and coming from a team like Mal's, it's just not going to happen. Especially when Mal's are getting those towers, they've got more map control already, you can see all those aggressive wards, more in the top jungle than anything. Some of them running out pretty soon, but still, you can see that sort of map control there, capitalizing on, and SK just have to roll over and take it. They can't really venture out because one of them will get picked, because they have huge amounts of single target damage from Mouse. It's just looking grim all over the place.
Yeah, it's scary as well, because if Ezreal or somebody like a Kayle or Ari jump in and get caught out of position, Kayle's there with their ultimate. So they're going to be just fine for a couple seconds. Soraka also can pop off the Wish, doing lots of nice healing as well. So it's really, really scary for SK Gaming. They're just going to have to turtle in for a good 10-15 minutes, I have to feel, and win this game that way. Oh, a nice attempt from Ezreal. He will actually steal the blue buff with his True Shot Barrage. As cheeky as you like. He's one of the most arrogant characters in the game, is Ezreal. And for good reason too, after a shot like that. In the meantime, Ari will be pushing top lane all by her lonesome, but she does actually have the Spirit Rush up, so if she gets in a really sticky situation, she's got great maneuverability and can pull herself back up. Also, it's important to note that the rest of her team starting to come up to top lane as well, so Moma is going to be fine. Ward goes down from Soraka, instantly taken out, and then pops it in the exact same position, just to rub salt in the wounds. Yeah, the map control looking very one-sided. Similar, akin actually to that first game, which is a flip. A role reversal in the sense that SK were in this position last time round. I even think it was 17-8 at one point.
Yeah, I think it was. Weird. Very weird. Something well up your side, man. But yeah, they have great map control all over them right now, and there's very little that SK can do to respond. Honestly, right now would be the point in most games, or at least in solo queue, they'd be surrendering right now. Because they're being pushed in, they have 6-1 tower advantage, 17-8, 10k ahead, and they have great late game scaling.
Oh, Ari's landed a charm on the one player you'd want to. That's going to be Graves. Did a lot of damage, but instantly backing off because they are still very weary of that crescendo coming down. We could see a team fight kicking off any second now. Young Buck spamming away a couple of those omens, but not really doing anything other than just harassment. Moma going down about a quarter of his health, but again, don't think they're going to care a great deal because the tower is slowly but surely falling. They are waiting for this creep wave to surge in behind them as well, and as soon as this creep wave comes in, I think we are going to see a team fight kicking off. Very possibly, unless SK go back. So will we see this start off? Young Buck has gone down to about half HP. Vengeful Maelstrom does come out from Maokai. So maybe not going to see it. There's Crescendo does land onto 3 or 4 players. Here comes the collateral damage, but Kayle smashing through Sona. Instantly, tower's been taken out. Ezreal onto Udyr, and that's going to be a cleanup and a half there from Mouse. Not a single player fell from their team, and most of them, in fact all of them, over half HP. The GGWPs come out from Svenskeren and the surrender vote afterwards. So 22-8, the final score, and this is going to go into a third decisive map.
Wow, that was really really well played by Mouse. They didn't get demoralized from the first game where they lost pretty handedly, and the second game they kind of crushed the opposition. They just held their own and held that advantage. It was a very small advantage at the start, but they just snowballed it out of control. And everyone got fed. There was nothing more to say. They just played that game really, really well.
Yeah, I can't really categorically point at one player and say, you let your team down, or any one player and say, look, you play phenomenal. Maybe apart from Dedrian. I think Dedrian in jungle was magnificent. 3 kills, 0 deaths, 14 assists. He was in the right place, the right time. Svenskeren, though, always seemed about a couple steps behind Dedrian. Every
Yeah.
time Dedrian went to go and gank, Svenskeren was behind him, but only just. It's one of those kind of games that another day could have been completely switched around, with SK actually picking that one up. But still, awesome stuff by both teams, and I'm really looking forward to this third map. And this is just the first game, guys. We have like another 6 or 7 hours of League of Legends action for you. So yeah, it's going to be awesome.